Honorable Union Minister of State for Housing and Urban Affairs, Sri Sahuji, Umashankarji, Srinivasji, and delegates from all the states and the other participants. A very good afternoon to all of you. So it's indeed a privilege to address you all at the National Urban Conclave, a gathering dedicated to the vital theme of sustainable urban development and governance. So as India continues to experience rapid urbanization, our cities stand as both engines of economic progress and also societal transformation. So urban centers have several challenges, but it also gives opportunity for us to reimagine, redesign, and re-energize our urban spaces. See, the 7 sub-themes discussed at the conclave are very good, and the summaries were excellent. In fact, they were covered almost all the issues and possible solutions for urban development in India. As Mr. Srinivas was mentioning, I hope the actionable points will be there, for all these themes. So I congratulate and compliment the Ministry of for organizing this important conclave. So urban issue has to be put in a macro perspective, because urbanization not alone, it has to be part of our economy. So at macro level, in spite of global uncertainties and trade, tariffs and all, Indian economy is resilient, and it is fastest growing economy, and we are going to move towards a third largest economy soon. But there are protectionist tendencies at global level. So the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, wanted domestic reforms. So first we started with GST reforms, and now we're also focusing on deregulation and ease of doing business. So these will help the urban development also. So one has to look into the urbanization as part of the large macro economy. And at Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, we are also discussing policies on urbanization. Honorable Prime Minister also mentioned to us. So in my brief address, I would like to touch upon a few urban issues at more macro level, because you have gone into the deep, the very sectoral and very micro level. So the urban population numbers are known. By 2035, some projections show urban share will be 43%. That is about 67.5 crores. Second highest behind China, which will be 1 billion. By 2047, of course, the number showed 50% will be urbanized. And therefore, India has to be prepared for significant rise in urbanization. As you know, 2047 goals are 3, the Viksit Bharat goals. One is achieving developed status in terms of per capita income. Second is the inclusive growth. Third is sustainability. So urbanization, of course, also has to fit into these goals. Why urbanization matters? Urbanization is not just a demographic trend. It is an economic strategy, because globally, a 1% increase in urbanization is associated with 3.9% rise in GDP per capita. In India, this figure is just 1.7%. So there is a lot of opportunity for us to have more efficient urban process, which can increase growth further. So cities must become easier to live in, do business, and govern. So here, private investment plays an important role in the growth story of urban areas. As you mentioned, the banks also play an important role in this. So we have to plan how to attract private investment, foreign as well as domestic. Of course, PPP model is one thing. But innovations and technology play an important role for the growth. A lot of you presented many of the innovations done at local level. And transit-oriented development, urban planning are very useful for growth. Second goal for Viksit Bharat is inclusive growth, as I mentioned. So in my opinion, inclusive growth means creating quality employment. You have discussed this urban livelihoods, which is basically inclusive growth. But how much urban population participate in the labor market? If you see the employment data, for the people above 15 years and above, the rural areas it was 62% the participation, whereas in urban areas it is 49%. So it's lower because the women's labor force participations are low in urban areas. Because if you see the numbers, female workforce participation rates, in rural areas it is 47%, in urban it is 26%. So there is a, no, we have to increase much more the women's participation rates in labor market in urban areas. According to the employment data 23-24, nearly 61% of the urban workers in India are engaged in the service sector. It underscores the centrality of services to India's urban employment structure. And at the same time, 40% of the urban workers are self-employment. You also discussed the self-employment, which continues to account for substantial share of urban jobs. This also shows the urban entrepreneurial dynamism, but also many informal workers. You know, we discussed the street vendors, and for them, credit is very important because otherwise they have to go to money lenders for you know, at high interest rates, sometimes even 100% interest. So credit and also skill upgradation, digital skills, financial literacy, these are important. But of course, urban manufacturing is also equally important. In fact, even urban agriculture, there is an increase in recent years. And also migrants constitute nearly 35% of India's urban population. Because they are coming male migrants, particularly, the primary motivation is better job prospects. So we have to take into account this in urban planning, the migrant population and all. Of course, another source of employment which the Honorable Prime Minister talks about is the tourism. Because tourism, where employment, you know, we are, compared to many other countries, our tourist numbers are less. So there is a lot of scope for increase in tourism. And regarding housing, you all discussed the vision of housing for all represents a cornerstone of inclusive urban development, because the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana has made significant strides in expanding access to formal housing. And initiatives such as Real Estate Regulation and Development Act and reforms with regard to insolvency in real estate have built greater confidence now in the urban areas. But also there is a need to assess the supply side constraints such as land use regulations, cumbersome procedures, and other bottlenecks which constrain supply. Hopefully the committees which are doing ease of doing business and all look into this. The third goal of Viksit Bharat is sustainability and climate resilience, because we all discussed the circular economy, how we have to do, because a lot of climate resilience also we need for urban areas. And we have seen the circular economy good practices like Mahakumbh Mela in UP and also Sikkim. So these are important and they have to be replicated in other areas. Regarding transport, I think very good presentation on public transport and all, because it lies at the heart of cities' growth and efficiency. However, given rising environmental concerns, the future of urban mobility must rest on low carbon solutions, such as, of course, electric buses, metro systems, non-motorized transport corridors, all this. Because you can see particularly in Europe, the public transport is very efficient thing. So why can't we have that's the kind of models? Turning to local bodies, under the Constitution, responsibility for matters related to urban development primarily rests with the states and urban local bodies. However, the union government plays an important role because it gives a programmatic support and also the support to the capacity building and other things also. And the union government has laid the groundwork with key initiatives like Amrut and also many other programs including DRAP and UWIN. So building on this momentum, Budget 2025 also announced 1 lakh crore Urban Challenge Fund to develop cities as growth. So a close cooperation between the union and the states is essential for urban development. So empowering local bodies, as you discussed, is very important because a study shows that spending at the discretion of local government is 51% in China, 27% in US and Brazil, but only 3% in India. So the discretion at the local council level. So states have to do more decentralization in this respect. Because as cities expand, local government must have authority, capacity, and resources to address challenges related to growth, employment, housing, waste management, transport, and climate resilience. So I think this is an important area where you discussed capacity building of the local bodies, but also we have to also strengthen their financial base, as mentioned, the property tax reforms, user charges, and also innovative instruments like municipal bonds, so that can improve their finances. And this will also attract private investment if very efficient local bodies will attract private investment. Lastly, urban policy must now shift in three critical ways, because so far we are relatively welfare to we have to move to proactive growth. Schemes so far have focused on affordability and utility. India must now map investment flows from a long-term strategy for the country and urban citizens. Second one is from fragmentation to holistic planning. As you mentioned, we are working in silos, so we have to have several departments together, and convergence of governance, infrastructure, mobility, and environment in an integrated way. Third is also on definition of urban areas itself. In fact, among academicians, a lot of debate on the definition, because some people think the census definition is outdated. We should also use new data sources like satellite imagery, built-up area matrices on economic activity to reclassify urban areas in real time, because maybe our urbanization is much more than what is given in census and other things. So in conclusion, India's urbanization journey presents both formidable challenges and opportunities. There are also best practices in urban governance across the world, like Singapore and European cities. I have seen the exhibition outside, the 15-minute, Viksit, the urban areas like Milan, kind of things, Copenhagen, Dutch, and also Amsterdam and other cities. So why can't we have our own cities, as you mentioned, 50 global cities in India? So I think the best practices presented in all these 7 sub-themes will be very good to replicate by other states. So once again, I compliment the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs for organizing this important national urban conclave. Thank you very much.